Tim Burchett says the deep state's at it again, says President Trump is getting blocked with some of the stuff that he's trying to find, some of the files, and says that it's going to be tough because if they let some of this stuff up, they're going to say, okay, yeah, you know what? We said this stuff didn't exist. We're pretty much lying. We're in trouble. So, okay. That was always the argument, though. It was always the thing that why a lot of this stuff wouldn't come out, because people would be getting in trouble for all the cover-up that there was for the last 70, 80 years. So let me play the clip from Tim Burchett, and then we'll kind of discuss what it means in the grand scheme of things. So take a look. Thank you to UAP James for posting this one. Check this out.
Tell me all about the UFOs and the aliens.
Well, the problem we have right now is the deep state's fighting the president on releasing. He kept his word, and I suspect some of our not so friendly comrades in some of our alphabet agencies are slow walking a lot of the information. It's about power, it's about control, and that's kind of what runs Washington.
All right, what do you think is in these files, and why do you think they're not trying to release any of them? Like they're partial release.
Part of it's going to be that they're going to have to admit that they've been lying to us all these years, and there could be some cover up of zero energy. There could be some other things. I don't think we're ever going to get everything they have. But that's kind of the nature of the game. But Trump's kept his word so far to me, so another personal word he had with me. So I'm proud of that.
Okay, so he's saying a lot of the stuff that he's said in the past, and he's kept a skeptical hat on it, to where he has discussed and he has been saying that he's going to be running through the administration to try to get a lot of this stuff, and that they are trying to get it released, is what he's saying. He's also been very clear, whether just recently on Rogan and things he's been saying over the last year, 2 years, whatever it might be, that there's going to be too many people that are trying to block it. You look at all the stuff that came out and all the information that came out about what the CIA had held back and had tried to keep from people, and there's the other reports, and there was a hearing recently talking about CIA whistleblowers and things that just like there's CIA, FBI, other things, as he's talking about with these agencies that are going to try to stop these information from coming out. And if this is something that has been going on forever, and that there has been a game plan in place, like you look at it like this, if there's these organizations that have been working together, that have been doing these things, that have been holding this information for so long, let's say for 70, 80 plus years, that they've had a game plan that has been working for that many years, if you believe this. And when new people come in, they're starting new game plans. So they're going from a new game plan, hoping to go up against this old game plan that has been working forever. Now, there's some things inside of the old game plan that doesn't necessarily work as well as it used to, where it's like, oh, no, if you talk about this, you're a crazy person, right? You're a crazy person. We're going to discredit you. You're a crazy person. Well, social media has made that not as possible anymore. They tried to do that with like David Grush. Now, if David Grush would have testified in like 1985, or whatever it might be, they would have had one report that they would have paid somebody in the newspaper to put some damaging report on him. They would have said he was a crackpot. He was out of his mind. He did this. That's the article that ran. That's the article everyone would see. There's no answer to it. And that's it. There's no YouTube videos. There's no Twitter posts. There's no TikToks. There's nothing. So there's nothing that can combat that article. So when they tried to discredit him, when they came out saying and coming out with the information of that one reporter that brought up the things that happened in his past with and how when he was going through PTSD and things that were happening, that particular article would have sunk him back then. But because there were other reports and other things throughout social media and other things coming after those people who did that went away. And that's just an example of many things of how people are just asking too many questions now. Ultimately, I think social media is what has led to this happening. Because like you look at an example for the Obama clip. When that Obama clip goes on a YouTube show, that clip goes out. Everybody starts talking about it. That becomes viral news. That eventually becomes a question that eventually gets to the president, who eventually says he shouldn't be talking about that. And then this trickle effect of, all right, well, now we're going to start releasing our information, and here's the information that you have, and it all leads to things. And I mean, you look at the president's tweeting stuff out all the time or whatever, and he's talking about these things, and this is what Luna, or they all use social media to get their word apart and to have clips go out and have things happen. So this is definitely something that has probably been a real pain in the ass for those agencies, but they're also really good at blocking stuff, keeping stuff quiet, figuring a way to maneuver stuff, redacting things, moving things around, because if they are able to basically pull strings and bin the ones in power for as long as they are. I always said this thing was like, oh, we're going to release the files, but we're going to tell you we're going to release the files. We're going to release them in about a month from now. We got a month, guys. Everything that we don't need, move it around, make sure they don't have that. They definitely can't get a hold of that. Put that over there. Don't let them get a hold of that. It's one of these things where you just got to show up or just say, give me the files today, and don't mention it. Because if you have enough time, even if there's like, okay, we found out that this particular craft is here. Now, this is the way that they would do it is, we have information, and we're going to visit this site on June 13th at 4 p.m. Do you think the thing's going to be there on June 13th at 4 p.m.? Of course not. So I think the approach needs to change a little bit more. But the conversation keeps going on, and new reports say that the second file, or second dump rather, is supposed to come this week. As a report that said, I guess a couple weeks ago, that it was supposed to come every 2 weeks, so that would line up if that is indeed the case. The conversation on this show and a bunch of other shows will be, is there anything of note? There are other conversations. There are other people talking. There's tons. I mean, the topic has been heating up as of late. These files clearly are part of that. Other things, the footage coming out, part of that. And I've seen ebbs and flows since I've been covering, and I've been only covering it really since 2023. For people who've been covering and following this topic, there's been ebbs and flows of this topic forever. But right now we're in this spot where people are talking about it. The conversation's getting more real, and things are coming out there. So what do you guys make of these particular comments by Burchett? The fact that the other thing that I think is the most relevant that I want to touch on before we end the video is that what I mentioned in the beginning, and that's the idea of one of the reasons they're keeping the secret quiet, one of many reasons, is because if you're covering something up for as many years as this thing potentially has been covered up, and the amount of information that could come out, where does that lead if you say, well, this thing happened? Let's just bring it to the scientists, and let's find out, as he's mentioned with the zero energy and those things, let's say that they discover something inside of these files that shows that some of these scientists were indeed working on anti-gravity and other things, and that it looks like it was indeed foul play. Well, then there's got to be an investigation, right? Of playing, and for why. I know this, and I don't know if any of that is going to come out. I'm just using it as an example, in the same way that if there were other things, like they asked David Grush at the hearing if people had been taken out and other things. Yes, if he's been threatened, yes. Lou Elizondo has said, other people have said it. There's been threats, there's been things, there's been attempts, there's been murders, there's been things. At least that's what they say. If that type of information came to light, or those things of whoever it might be, the investigation started to happen, of course people would get in trouble. Of course, it makes absolute sense that any organization would be trying to keep this as quiet as possible. Nothing to see here. Move along. Let's hope this goes away. And I still am skeptical. What I'm planning on the next couple of days when these files come out, I'm planning on saying, okay, new files come out and this information came out, but I don't know. I don't think anybody's, my friends who aren't really following this, I don't think they're going to hear about it. The files that come out, if you really want to move the needle, everybody who's not following this needs to know about it. If people are watching the news, this needs to be not the number 5 story as they're signing off. It needs to be whatever is in those files. It needs to be the number 1 story. And it needs to be something that really starts the conversation. That's how this goes from the taboo niche topic that people talk about to let's get to the real deal, to be able to then get people over and say, hey, I was skeptical about this, but this, because of what they showed here, maybe we can actually have a debate about it, or maybe it just shuts it all down in general, whatever the file might be. Who knows? But we'll see as these files come soon. What do you think about Burchett's comments, though? Do you think that they're going to be shut down? Is it concerning that the highest office in the country is knocking on doors and some of those doors are locked, or some of those doors are just creaked open and said, no, look in that one instead, Mr. President. Go over there. No, we can't. Oh, no, we'll get you the stuff when we can. Does that add merit to that Marco Rubio comment of and Stephen Greer comment of they just looked upon as hired guns will be out of the office soon. The next administration will be on, and then they'll maneuver around the next administration. What say you? Thanks for being here as always. I appreciate you. I'll be back here tomorrow with another video. So make sure you click like, comment, subscribe, all that and more. We'll see you on the flip side.